The coffee shop sector will absolutely survive this. Coffee shops are part of the fabric of British society. This has been an industry that has gone for, hundreds of years in various different guises. No doubt this is a very new one. This is a very new era. There will be winners, there will be losers. There'll be a lot of structural change. Clearly, what we're seeing at the moment is structural change around the workplace, around travel, and around actual sort of busy urban locations. And we're seeing many offices, many employers, large employers, actually inviting their staff not to come back in, and probably many will never invite their staff back in the same numbers that they invited them back in. There are companies now that have already put out to their property consultancies that they want to reduce space, and numbers of workers will reduce radically, be it in banking, be it in creative industries. I think there's a lot of businesses now that are going to go, well, actually, the workplace has changed. So the working from home will be a much bigger feature. Likewise, reduced journeys across all sort of walks of life. And so busy transport hubs, reducing journeys, substantially. And this is having a really large impact on coffee shops in train stations, airports, etc. We expect that's going to continue for some time to come. But the upside is, with this, big city sort of reduction of footfall traffic, we're seeing a huge rise in the local. The local is becoming the major hub, and I think we're going, in one way, one of the silver linings of this era, this COVID crisis, is there's a recognition for kind of back to localness. Consumers are really, really getting behind their locals, and they're more likely to be working from either from home and then nipping down to the coffee shop, or working from their local coffee shop instead of traveling into the big smoke as we all did before. And again, the upside is on really good trade for local businesses in more suburban environments. And there are many businesses that are actually doing better than pre-COVID. I think there are absolutely permanent changes happening to the coffee industry, but we are not going to see the end of the coffee shop as we know it. The social impact of coffee, of congregating around coffee houses, is something that consumers, absolutely have embedded into their lifestyle. And the sort of the antidote to loneliness, the sort of human connectivity that we all need in our daily lives, will continue to be an important part of the fabric of society. Allegra did a study right at the beginning of the COVID era, and we actually asked consumers, what do you miss most about this era? And the thing that people were really struggling with was this sort of lack of connectivity, mainly with friends and family. But the second most important thing that British consumers missed with COVID lockdown was the coffee shop and cafes. So again, that there's a huge demand there. Having said that, there is a really big upside for the home coffee market as well. And that provides a lot of quality roasters with upside opportunity. It provides coffee equipment companies and accessory companies with opportunity. We're seeing consumers getting more interested in coffee. We're seeing consumers taking their coffee more seriously. And when they're not going out, they're drinking better coffee at home. Whether it be it capsule systems, but also, especially we're seeing the rise of more traditional espresso machine at home and fully automatic machines at home. So a lot of high-end spend going into coffee. I think consumers now realize that this is going to be a sort of a longer-term trend, and so you better equip yourself with some great coffee in the home. Well, from a consumer side, there is a definite fear on the part of a high proportion of the British population to come back into, sort of a high volume, So there's clearly a fear among many consumers, and there is also a need among other consumers. And we would kind of, our research indicates it's a bit of a 50-50 split. I think those that are actually really fearful and really caring, and whether it's about for themselves, but also for their loved ones, and actually not wanting to actually, infect, an elderly family member or someone with medical conditions that might be vulnerable to that. And then there's a whole group of people going, oh, this is a pain in the neck. This is like, I'm not going to get it. I'm young. I just need to get out, and I need to be part of this. And there's been a lot of government confusion, as the whole situation has unfolded. Consumers have sort of been confused about what they can do, what they can't do. The situation is becoming much clearer now. And so from a risk point of view, the sort of the fear of consumers is one thing. As far as for the cafe owners, social distancing measures are quite limiting. Now that we have some legislation that's just sort of come in, whereby all staff need to wear masks, and we're taking a lot more seriously the constraints that need to be put onto coffee houses. That again, social distancing, apps to make sure that we record the addresses and names of all visitors, and so it's becoming. I think we're getting a bit more serious about it, and that puts limits. That's put a little bit more fear into the minds of consumers. We're certainly seeing the last week or so, coffee shop sales have sort of dipped a little bit from where they were. We had an amazing sort of August where coffee shops, help Eat Out to Help Out was a very successful campaign. It really drove a lot of volume. It actually created a bit of initiative that actually, it is safe to come out. But then again, someone was quoted in the press from saying, "Well, that's a distant memory now." What we need is permanent changes that are going to make a difference to hospitality businesses, long-term government support, long-term societal support for the little local. Clearly, the reduction in VAT has been very, very positive. That's been extended until the end of March. Likewise, reduction in business rates has been very welcome for hospitality businesses. These were very necessary long-term changes. I suspect that the hospitality industry is going to need some longer-term assistance here. We have a lot of jobs at stake. We have a lot of people who are dependent on people that work in hospitality, and the hospitality industry is going to need a lot of help because social distancing limits the amount of upside, limits the capacity of a given hospitality venue, and puts a cap on the potential profit or viability of many institutions. As an industry, we are very resilient. I think there's a lot of businesses have found solutions now, whether that's adding new products to their portfolio, selling coffee to take home, selling products to take home, whether it's alternative milks or jams and other things. Some coffee shops have turned themselves into general stores. A lot of creativity. We're seeing a lot more. We're seeing a lot more delivery happening. And that we think will be another big upside. And I think the delivery piece is going to be something that really does change the landscape of our sector.